What's up, everyone? I hope you're having an excellent day or night whenever this is. People have been asking for this one for a long time, and I'm very excited to bring you the Morant throwback scouting report. Let's get 150 likes on this for another top comment throwback scouting report. And really is such a crazy prospect. I think this was maybe the most fun I had watching a prospect, largely because of his combination of an elite special handle and elite special passing, where is one of these rare guys who actually keeps his dribble alive. If you've watched one of my videos about anyone who dribbles the ball, you know that I've probably complained about them picking up the ball too early. But look what does. He keeps his dribble alive against a double team, hangs in the air and whips it perfectly to the top of the key and gets his guy in position to drive and finish an easy layup. Was a truly special initiator player in college, and the patience to hold his handle and to wait for defenses to open up is not something you saw in 19, 20-year-old point guards, where would wait for this tag defender to clear out, and it looks like he's kind of this looks like maybe is looking this way, right? Not necessarily staring down his read, and it's certainly possible that manipulation moved this defender out of the way, and he fires it in for an easy layup. Morant just has this incredible combination of gravity and vision, where obviously playing in a weaker conference and even against like tournament teams, we'll have clips from like the Murray State game, not Murray State, the the Marquette game, the Florida State game, where teams like load up on him because he can get to any spot in the court. And again, another like kind of manipulative pass, right? It looks like he's staring at the sideline here, but the ball is going here. You can totally see this defender thought the ball was going to the wing. I think that's good evidence of manipulation, is how this defender tries to react and close out. And nope, you're going the wrong way, buddy. Sorry, Morant is not going to let you know where he plays. And he was such an incredible passer with both hands. I think that's one of my favorite skills that and honestly something that I think is probably under discussed for like upside, is the skill and touch with both hands. Is perfectly fires this lefty skip pass that probably would have been converted into a three in the NBA. And then is going to finish this possession by isolating, pump fake, show him. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, one of main issues in college, something that I overthought a lot. If you watch my video where I reacted to my 2019 board, I was not nearly as high on as I should have been. Probably would have been, because my philosophy's changed a lot, and players like are part of the reason for that. But yeah, the crazy show and go here. Whoop. That's just beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Was really one of one. Again, the handle and the playmaking. And he's one of these elite playmakers who weaponize the jump pass, like Halliburton, like Luka, like LeBron at times. The conventional wisdom of basketball says don't jump pass, but it's clear that all the best passers jump pass. And why is this? And to me, it's because it opens and extends passing windows, right? When can, and of course it helps to be a guy like who can literally hang in the air for 5 seconds. He can twist here, wait out the contest, and usually when players go airborne, help defenders kind of abandon their responsibility. But because of that, can twist his body, contort in midair, and find his big for a wide open layup. He is a jump pass extraordinaire, and we're gonna have plenty more of those in this video. Again, we see an example of him keeping the handle alive, as this read probably isn't open when most players pick their dribble up, which is right here. Most players pick their dribble up right there, and maybe you could like lob it over top right there, but it's much easier if you can use your crazy change of pace and burst and handle to get right in front of him. The fact that Morant not only had this crazy vision, but he had the burst to get to any spot is a cheat code. I've talked about how having that burst and advantage creation can be a tool for developing playmaking, but had both. Like this was really not fair. And again, we see the value of the hang time passing, right? Has like 4 this is just an absurd screen cap that is able to hang in the air, and right, the fact that he goes airborne, everyone abandons their help responsibilities, and kicks it for like a wide open 3. This is advantage creation and playmaking personified. This is why the skill set and the combination of skills is so freaking deadly. And again, we see the handle opening up passing. He's gonna cross, snatch back, like the change of direction, the burst, the creative handle, and take a long step, kick it out to the top of the key. Like, even good college teams like could not guard him because of the speed and the vision. Here's another excellent example of Morant hanging in the air against Florida State, who, like, right, you're gonna guard Ja at half court. All right, we're gonna set a screen. He's gonna go downhill, leap, jump in midair, and he's gonna have the vision to hang in the air and find his man right there. This was like the special sauce that one of the things that I talk about a lot in these videos are just outlier traits, right? And Ja clearly had so many outlier traits that, I don't know, it should have been more obvious maybe, but hindsight's 2020. Look how freaking low he gets splitting this double team. Crazy that he was able to control the ball and doesn't hit the floater, but grabs his own rebound and puts it back up. Perfect player. He did turn the ball over a good amount, but again, as I've talked about before, right? Turnovers are not that big of a deal for young playmakers like Ja, who, it's clear they're trying to make high-level reads here. Like, Ja wants to hit this lob, and the window is just not really there. The athletes are better against Auburn, right? And one, he doesn't really have the lob threats to make this work like he does it now in the NBA with Clark and guys like Clark and Jaren. But it's clear Morant is like not afraid to try these tougher passes. He's aggressive, hunting layups, and even when this doesn't work and it leads to turnovers, this is a play that Murray State would run a ton, just like they do so many backdoor cuts in the lobs. And yeah, maybe not the smartest decision to go for the lob there, but the volume of these layup passes is something I've talked about as being important. And yeah, the vision and like there were just some like reckless kind of reads where it didn't seem like he was kind of acting, where it seemed like Morant was mostly acting off of instinct and not necessarily reading the floor, just kind of losing the ball. But all of these issues that, again, maybe I think I over-indexed on too much at the time are stuff that tend to be corrected, and I think Morant is another example, especially when you have the kind of special burst to open up defenders in isolation, create an easy advantage. Look how freaking flexible he is. The shin angle, too. Like, look at his shin. His shin is literally parallel to the ground. Like, that's not normal. Go outside and try to do this. Like, go outside with the basketball and try to get your shin as low to the ground as possible, and it's going to hurt. And, of course, that helped Ja hang in the air and open up passing windows. And he always had this burst, even going back to AAU. Like, he was a walking paint touch in AAU, which is, of course, a big indicator of future development, right? These guys who can create wicked advantages like Ja did. Here he goes isolating against the big, and he's just too bursty and too twitchy and too quick to handle, right? And it's not just the initial first step, right, where Ja can just win off the dribble. It's the hesitations, the fact that he's using complicated footwork and head and body fakes, and he's using like deceleration. The deceleration was really a surprise, and something I didn't necessarily even like remember or probably pay attention to at the time. But Ja's ability to slow down is almost as impressive to me as his ability to speed up, which we know his ability to speed up is special. That's, and of course the touch right there. The floater is something that I definitely want to talk about too, in that like that floater wasn't something he leaned on a ton in college, but he ended up being so good at it in the league, and plays like this were probably evidence of that he just didn't need to rely on the floater that much because he got to the rim whenever he wanted. But plays like that and plays like this where Ja is scooping the ball with his left hand, contested, like advanced stuff. His touch was clearly phenomenal with both hands. He just had this ability to feather the ball into the rim. And he was also such a powerful athlete that he could leap off of two, hang in the air, push back a bigger and stronger defender, at least by the looks of it, and end up drawing a foul there. And again, we see the awesome burst, but some of the finishing concerns, again, was stuff that I maybe at the time would have thought was more of an issue, but because Ja could reject the screen, get downhill with his burst, and this wasn't probably a great decision to try to go reverse with a defender right there, with two defenders right there, just a very difficult finish when it probably would have been better for him to just go up with his left right here. But a lot of these finishing decisions, obviously, we know they did get cleaned up because we know how good he is, but I do think those tend to be maybe more fixable than at least I, at a certain point, gave credit for. And I didn't mean to put this clip again, but let's watch it again because it's absolutely sick. But yeah, again, we see like so much, even against isolated defenders, open floors with help, there was not much people could do because of the first step and the explosion. And oh my goodness, that's filthy. His deceleration, once again, this is what I was talking about. Not just the ability to speed up, right? Because he speeds up, he beats the first defender off the dribble easy. And look how bad the spacing is. Like, the spacing was horrific, and the fact that Ja averaged an efficient 28 and 10 or something like that in college is so nuts. But beautiful little step through here, floater to finish that off. Like, it wasn't just blowing by guys, which you see with a lot of young prospects like Scoot and like Nolan Traore, for example, who just like get by guys because they're so fast, but sometimes don't know what to do at the rim. But Ja is gonna snake and finish with an offhand, off foot lefty scoop. Like, what the hell is this, man? Like, wrong foot, right? Actually, no, wait. 1, 2. No, that's not a wrong foot finish. My apologies, but still just crazy left-handed scoop, double coverage, falling out of bounds. That's not normal, and touch like that really does matter. And of course, he could rise and explode in the half court. This was all stuff that Ja was so comfortable doing, and always being the best athlete on the floor. The decision making, though, wasn't always great. But again, I think that's something that has improved in the league as he just sees more coverages, knows what to do. And sometimes he would just kind of like dribble around and didn't really seem to be, like I said earlier, didn't seem to be reading the floor and wasn't always super smart in his shot selection. Like, would take these really tough floaters, which understandable, right? Ja could make them, but he didn't do it super often, or that part of his game wasn't as refined as it could have been. But again, we see examples like this where against a pretty good against the high drop coverage, which is something that happens a lot in the league, Ja just totally scorches a drop big, hangs in the air. It's not just the vertical, but his ability to like go horizontal in midair that also helped him get to his spots. But the other main issue was the shot, right? It just like wasn't that efficient and the mechanics weren't great. And the most important thing to me was that it allowed defenders to play him like this, where they can just kind of back up, right? And Ja wants to draw contact. He wants to be explosive. He wants to be physical, but it's harder to do that when your defender is backpedaling and you are driving into help. Of course, the spacing, right? The spacing issues didn't help this much, but yeah, it was a lot of guys just like hard sliding backwards because they weren't necessarily worried. And oftentimes it didn't even work. Ja is fast and explosive enough to just get to the rim anyways. But I do think that this was something that, might have been a concern for the NBA, but it seems Ja is pretty smoothly ironed out. But there were flashes. Like, he was a pretty good free throw shooter. His volume was all right. I don't have the numbers pulled up. I usually do. But they were okay. And again, we talk about the touch, and the fact that he was willing to take shots like that are really important. And this was a really high-level bucket. I remember him having a crazy shooting tournament where he looked like a superstar prospect, where he's rejecting the screen here. Great patience and pace and smoothly pulling into a three. Like, no hesitation. The confidence was phenomenal. And we saw that pull-up mid-range shot earlier that he faded away. And flashes like this were really enticing. Like I said, they were just flashes at the time. That jumper was not nearly as consistent as it is today. But again, rejecting the screen, getting baseline, smoothly flowing into a pull-up. And the mechanics were weird, right? His elbows flared out. The energy transfer wasn't always smooth, even though it was pretty good there. But now looking at what he is in the NBA and the way that he's honed and refined his intermediate scoring especially is so impressive to me. As you didn't really see a ton of Ja like using his body, putting people in jail like he does now. It's, he's never going to be the strongest point guard, but he's definitely gotten stronger since his time in college. That, is what you expect to happen, right? And Ja is so much more comfortable making shit happen and playing slow, right? Ja knows now that he can win with speed whenever he wants, right? But he doesn't have to. He can slow play this, wait for Biyombo, sees the role's not going to be there, hard pound into a step back. Like, this is like the veteran control that even the most brilliant young playmakers generally don't have, but oftentimes with these brilliant high field guys will develop. And of course, the mid-range jumper now is much more of a weapon than it was in college. He's able to unlock his touch with these kind of fadeaway jumpers, and I feel like people kind of forget how good Ja is. I certainly don't think they should, but I think some of them do. And this newfound control, look at that shooter's touch, allows him to like rise into these floaters. I'm gonna look for a play that I should be able to find. This one, right? Where he kind of gets backed off of and throws up a shot, right? He's not really in control. He's not driving the car here, right? The defender is driving and Morant is in the passenger seat. But now we look, 5-6 years later in the NBA, Ja is in full control. He is at the helm of this ship, right? He is not letting Brandon Ingram or Herb, who switches off, dictate. He's patient. He goes off of 2 to get a good base, flicks the ball up. And of course, the fact that he can jump so damn high that he can just get so high that he can shoot the ball easily over the contest of a defender multiple inches taller than him. And like I said, the incredible shooting bounce. Everything came together for Ja in such a wonderful way, and so much stronger. As we said, Herb Jones is not a weak defender, but Ja was able to hold him off, drive him backwards, and finish that floater through contact. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I do think that Ja was a really special offensive prospect that honestly at the time I just kind of missed, partly because of, I think, lack of experience and lack of knowledge. I remember, some longtime draft people will know the name Jackson Hoy. He's currently an exec or some kind of higher up in the front office for the Grizzlies. And he was a big draft Twitter guy back in the day who was famously early on Ja. And these were all the things that he outlined, right? That Ja had this star potential in so many ways, these outlier traits, special feel and manipulative passing, a special creative dynamic handle, elite explosion, both vertically and horizontally, and enough touch and shooting prowess to make it all work. A guy like Ja still isn't a great shooter, but he doesn't need to be because of how incredible of an explosive paint touch passing guy he is. And Ja is just one of my favorite players to watch, especially college. Ja, God, he was incredible to watch. And this is some of the most fun I've had going back and watching a college player for one of these videos. This was so much damn fun. I love all of this, of course. And I have all of you to thank for making these possible. Really, that's what it is. But yeah, this one was just different. I love Ja, and I cannot wait to watch him next year. And hope you learn something. Bet on these special prospects. Sometimes it looks obvious, and it did in this case.